there, and welcome to Leisure World. My name's Harry Babbitt. Now, some people are kind enough to say they remember me as a singer. However, for some time now, I've been a full-time representative of Leisure World. Say, this is Laguna Hills, 2,200 acres. And believe me, there's a lot of building going on here. Just 10 minutes away is the Pacific Ocean and the world-famous art colony of Laguna Beach. About 20 miles north, right next to Long Beach, is Leisure World Seal Beach. 3 minutes away is the ocean and the Long Beach Marina. Farther north, round the San Francisco Bay Area, is Leisure World Walnut Creek. Other similar communities are now being developed for a projected population of 50,000 near Princeton, New Jersey, 17,000 at Olney, Maryland, not far from Washington, D.C., and 51,000 at Chicago. All leisure worlds are planned to be compatible with surrounding communities. Each of these leisure worlds is a new concept in living for active people, a concept born out of the creative imagination of Ross Cortese, president of Rossmore Corporation, and a man who has won many national building awards, including the title Builder of the Year, a practical dreamer who recognized the need for a new way of life for people in their later years, and a man who put his money where his dreams are. You know, as people grow older, they have special needs. Usually their situation has changed. You know, the children have grown up and moved away, and, well, this is an important milestone in their lives. The house is too large, the upkeep is too demanding. Naturally, they want to enjoy their still active years and the companionship of friends with similar interests. Perhaps the city in which they live has many social and recreational aspects they might enjoy. But places and friends are so spread out that it's often a major effort to get anywhere. They're stranded in a world that is not adjusted to their needs, a world that is hedged with inconveniences, where every activity makes financial demands on a sometimes restricted budget. Now, Ross Cortese realized this problem, and his answer was Leisure World. A new way of life designed for alert and active people 52 years or older who want to get the most out of life, who want to enjoy accustomed hobbies and social affairs, to experience new adventures in life. Clearly, the way to achieve this adventure in living was to establish well-designed communities close to the facilities of large metropolitan centers, yet complete in themselves. Seal Beach was the first. Nearly all of its 6,500 homes were sold out in less than 2 years. Time magazine calls it one of the most talked about communities in the United States. 10,000 friendly, active people live here. The success of Seal Beach sparked the development of Leisure World Laguna Hills, a community which will encompass 18,000 homes, 30,000 people. Both these dynamic communities in the heart of Southern California are close to a wide variety of attractions. Close to the blue water and golden beaches of the Pacific, to boating, fishing, beachcombing, swimming. Freeways offer easy access north to Los Angeles and its new music center, south to San Diego, the inland towns, Missions, Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, Marineland, mountain resorts, UCLA, USC, and the new University of California at Irvine. On the former country estate of Robert Stanley Dollar is Leisure World Walnut Creek, sheltered in rolling hills and encircling a beautiful 18-hole golf course. It will eventually house 18,000 people. Here in this rustic setting, close to the University of California and many other nationally known universities, only 15 minutes from Oakland and just 45 minutes from all the cultural and recreational activities of San Francisco, the noted architect Charles Warren Callister has created a harmony of land planning and architecture that is unprecedented in a complete town. On the terraced hillsides, homes with a view give a wonderful feeling of spaciousness and gracious living. Garages and storage space are handy to all apartments. Homes are accommodated to the slope of the land. Entrances are only a few steps from ground level. Now each Leisure World has clubhouses and recreational and social facilities to allow for the fullest expression of every individual's interests. Married couples, single people, and people now alone. Most of them are retired, but many are still working. There are all kinds of people, individuals from different places with different experiences. That's partly what makes them so interesting. And because of the size of the Leisure World communities, there are always plenty of people with common interests. So it's easy to meet friends with whom you can share your pleasures. And all these fine people have been approved as to character and credit. They are the kind of people we all want as neighbors. Now take, for instance, Don and Helen Templer. Real nice folks. You might almost say they're typical of Leisure World. I remember the first day they came to look over the model homes. Don had just retired as an electronic engineer with one of the large aerospace companies. Their children were grown and out on their own, so the Templars were able to give more consideration to their own personal desires. Now, Don was a bit skeptical at first. He was a man who wasn't in the habit of making hasty judgments, and he was not about to start now that he was planning the most important years of his life. On that first scouting trip, the Templars spent several hours in just looking and sort of getting the feel of the community. Don was impressed with the solid construction of the homes, with the radiant heating, thermostat controlled and built into the ceiling, with the well-planned arrangement of the entire community, the neat, attractive exteriors of the homes, the cleanliness of the streets, and the open views made possible by installing all the wires and cables underground. They even examined the bulletin boards in the clubhouses. There's always something of interest here. Notices of fraternal, social, and service clubs, and announcements of all the major religious faiths that meet at Leisure World. Actually, sites within the community have already been selected by most of the denominations, and construction is well underway. Later, they looked around the shopping center that is part of Leisure World. But the Templars still wanted to know a good deal more, so before they left, Don collected all the information he could get. Several days later, they were back again, and like most people, they still had a few questions on their minds. They said they were interested in the two-bedroom model, but first, they wanted to be sure they understood the financing. So I told them that after the normal down payment, their monthly payment of approximately $180 would cover everything: principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. It includes all exterior maintenance of the homes, the grounds, and the streets. Of course, many amateur gardeners like to give the old plantation their own personal touch, and it's certainly their right and privilege to do so. The single monthly payment also covers the community programs in the amphitheater, the use of the clubhouse with all their facilities for recreation and for social gatherings, the swimming pools, and the relaxing therapeutic pool. Perhaps the most important single benefit offered at Leisure World is the wonderful medical plan. Not even the wealthiest have the immediate medical care and facilities available to residents of Leisure World. Each Leisure World has a complete modern medical center. This plan, included in the one monthly payment, mind you, provides hospitalization, home nurse calls, visits to the doctor's office, ambulance, and by the way, physicians are on call 24 hours a day. Even the services of Christian Science practitioners are included. And the competent medical staff is headed by an outstanding medical doctor, Dr. Floyd Wergeland, the medical director of the Leisure World Foundation. Dr. Wergeland is the former commanding general of famed Walter Reed General Hospital and was Surgeon General of the United States Army in Europe. Here he is with Robert Carithers, Director of Hospital Administration for the Leisure World Foundation. Now, Mr. Carithers is considered an outstanding expert in his field, and this fine medical staff has the very best of facilities at its disposal, including full X-ray and all necessary diagnostic and therapeutical equipment. Yes, believe me, this kind of medical plan is found only at Leisure World. Now, I knew that Don and Helen had read all this in the brochure, but they just wanted to make sure there were no gimmicks. And believe me, there weren't any. Then Don asked me, in other words, our one monthly payment covers all these benefits you mentioned? And I answered, everything, including the fully staffed medical center. And then he said, we can use the swimming pool or play golf or use all the clubhouse facilities without any extra fee. And I assured him that they could. That's all covered by the one monthly payment. Then Don asked about the appliances they saw in the model homes. He wondered if they're all included in all the apartments. Well, I explained that everyone has the deluxe General Electric line: oven, range, refrigerator, and garbage disposal. And when an appliance wears out, it's replaced at no additional charge. Well, Helen was curious about any special rules for members, and I explained, well, of course there are rules of conduct as in any community, but the major one is, thou shalt not offend thy neighbor. The Leisure World Foundation, headed by Mr. William Simon, a noted lawyer and former FBI executive, helps to coordinate and provide management and operating services at all Leisure Worlds. And the affairs of the Leisure World Foundation are governed by a board of trustees composed of executives and directors of some of the most reputable public and private corporations in America. Such outstanding leaders as motion picture producers Mervyn LeRoy and Y. Frank Freeman, Vice President of Paramount Pictures and President of the Motion Picture Producers Association; Walter O'Malley, President of the Los Angeles Dodgers; Sylvester Smith, Jr., former President of the American Bar Association; Frank King, Chairman of the Board of the Directors of the United California Bank; Henry Dookie, an outstanding attorney and President and Chairman of Greater Los Angeles Plans Incorporated; Alan Oakley Hunter, attorney and former General Counsel of the United States Housing and Home Finance Agency and former Member of Congress. Thus, the Leisure World Foundation is in the best possible executive hands. Now, Helen had one more question. Where do all the leisure world people come from? What kind of people are they? Well, they come from almost every state in the Union. They're fine people with many different backgrounds. Automobile dealer, doctor, actress, lawyer, civil service employee, salesman, hairstylist, banker, school teacher, personnel supervisor, retired judge, artist, insurance man, chemist, office manager, store owner. Yes, Leisure World is a real cross-section of America. People who have lived active, busy lives and are now enjoying the kind of leisure that appeals to people who are still active, who still meet life as an adventure. Well, Don and Helen decided on a split-level Seville, as Helen put it, just around the corner from everything. She was delighted with the comfort and spaciousness of her new home. She liked the kitchen layout and the convenient stove height and all the sparkling new equipment. In all the rooms, there was no stooping for electrical outlets, and wall switches were handy. Taking care of the clothes in a community laundry was almost a social event. A chance to meet friends, to talk, or to watch TV while the machines did the dirty work. There were many other features that appealed to them both. The privacy of the closed-in patio, the ventilation system that changed the air every 6 minutes, the freedom from the demands of work in the yard. Shopping became a pleasure instead of a problem, especially with buses that stopped almost at their door. They appreciated the protective walls enclosing the community and the 24-hour-a-day vigilance of security guards who keep out undesirable persons and maintain a crime-free community where it's safe to walk the streets at night. With this kind of security and maintenance, it's easy for people who like to travel to just lock the door and go, and many of them do. Then there were many activities Don and Helen were able to share together, like the adult education classes they'd never had an opportunity to attend in the past. Because leisure worlds are so close to the freeways, it was easy for the children and grandchildren to come to see Don and Helen for the day or even longer. At holiday times, they were part of a community that sparkled with seasonal decorations. There were dozens of gatherings, like the Rotarians' Christmas party for underprivileged children, and the appealing presentation of the story of the Nativity, one of the many productions staged by the dramatic clubs throughout the year. And music, always there were musical programs by one or more of the several vocal groups made up of their friends and neighbors. With so many people in their general age range who shared their interest in group activities, Helen and Don made friends quickly and easily. One of Helen's special friends was Frida Anderson, a widow. And Don's favorite buddy was Mac Brady, a former purchasing agent. They became a foursome the night of Don's birthday. Helen planned a little surprise dinner and invited Frida. Then she called Mac, and the party was all set. From then on, I saw them together quite often. Playing cards at the clubhouse, wheeling out for a drive down the coast, or tripping the light fantastic at the weekly dances. Occasionally, they'd join a group taking a bus to some sports event or show in town. Then I began to notice that sometimes it was just Frida and Mac driving off to one of the beach towns for dinner or a show, or heading for one of the social events at the clubhouse. And the next thing I knew, they were making headlines in the Leisure World News. Naturally, Helen was matron of honor and Don was best man. You know, I asked our newspaper editor the other day how many weddings we've had here at Leisure World, but he said he'd already lost count. Anyway, there have been a lot of them. However, that's something over which we have no control and for which we offer no guarantees. All I know is that it would be hard to find a friendlier place than Leisure World. If you're alone, it's because you want to be. There's as much or as little privacy as each individual desires. As Ross Cortese said when he was approaching 40 himself, he saw life expectancy increasing and people retiring earlier, and he felt that a significant number of mature people would want to move into a totally new environment, offering leisure pursuits, plenty of contacts with people their own age, and medical care if needed. The result was Leisure World. As evidence of the sincerity of his interest, Ross Cortese in March 1964 set up an endowment program which will exceed $4 million. He presented the initial check to Dr. Norman Topping, president of the University of Southern California, to establish the Rossmore Cortese Institute for the Study of Retirement. This grant to the university provides for scientific research in the field of gerontology. And of course, much additional research and specialized treatment are being carried out by the doctors and nurses right here at Leisure World. Essentially, the aim of the Rossmore Cortese Medical Program is to discover what can be done to help mature people retain their health, extend their active years, increase their sense of fulfillment, and get greater pleasure out of life. Many people have already found a new world of enjoyment in Leisure World. They have learned that with leisure in their lives, there can also be life in their leisure. Their horizons are broadened, and each day offers new adventures in living. For at Seal Beach, at Walnut Creek, at Laguna Hills, Leisure World has brought together in a congenial, compact community a wealth of activities. Here are avenues of expression once open only to the wealthy. Here is a multitude of ways to realize one's individuality through recreation. social gatherings, adventures of the mind, expressions of the spirit. One of the greatest values is the warm and ready companionship, the pleasant sense of belonging. Leisure World is all things to all men. Each individual is free to choose those activities that will bring the greatest personal satisfaction. And for every person over 52, Leisure World offers the stimulation of a new way of life. Thank you.